Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out the brand new Electric Cup meta in Go Battle League, and seeing the massive mistake that NIANTIC made with this meta. This is a 1500 CP meta, only electric type Pokemon are allowed, and as for the ban list, initially it was Unova Stunfisk and Charjabug. However, at the last minute, NIANTIC added Vikavolt and Heliolisk to the ban list, which are the two Mudslap users in the meta. Now, banning these two Mudslappers ends up being a pretty massive mistake, as it's now left ALOLAN Graveler and ALOLAN Golem insanely powerful, with basically Water Gun Lantern as the only viable check. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, check out some Electric Cup practice battles, and see the ALOLAN Golem family absolutely terrorize the Electric Cup. Hopping into the first match, leading Lantern into Raichu. This is a fairly neutral lead. Opponent is going to farm up, save switch into Hisuian Electrode, and I'm going to send in ALOLAN Golem. Hisuian Electrode is a grass type, so surely it has a good matchup against ALOLAN Golem. However, all ALOLAN Golem has to do is double shield, and it can rock throw all the way down. So even a Pokemon with a type advantage cannot consistently beat ALOLAN Golem in the 2-shield. And this is the problem when you ban the Mudslappers in the meta. The rock types go absolutely wild. Back in comes the Raichu. Raichu is going to be met with the Rock Blast from ALOLAN Golem. Decision time for my opponent. Are they willing to commit a shield? They are not. Raichu is going to fire off a charge move. I have no shields remaining here. Brick Break is going to KO. I'm going to send in the Lantern. In the back, they have Fury Cutter Galvantula, and Galvantula is being absolutely shredded by the rock throws. Lunge connects. ALOLAN Graveler looking for the farm down, gets the farm down, and will be able to take care of that Raichu as well. Honestly, I forgot the Raichu was that low. Rock Blast is gonna KO as we secure the win. Picking up a tough lead in the next match, Lantern into Hisuian Electrode. I will immediately save switch into ALOLAN Graveler. Electrode going to stay in this matchup and build up to the Energy Ball. I will respect it with a shield. Opponent baits with a Wild Charge and then sends in a Spark Lantern. Typically, Water Gun is going to be preferred for this meta, but Spark can have some nice anti-meta play, specifically to deal with opponents' Water Gun Lanterns. At this point, they're going to fire off the Surf. I'm not willing to expend my second shield, so I'm just going to let that through and continue to farm. Lantern farming up quite a bit, and they allow me to reach the Rock Blast. Rock Blast is not going to KO, but it will get some nice chip damage, and honestly, that's all I can really hope for here. Opponent is able to farm down, and that is not great news for me as they leave with a ton of energy. I'm just going to use my Lantern as a damage sponge. I'm going to absorb the back-to-back Thunderbolts here, and then just trust in ALOLAN Golem to win me this game. I'm able to get the farm down here. Going to need to send in ALOLAN Golem into the Hisuian Electrode. Electrode at the Energy Ball. I do need to respect this with a shield. My opponent baits again with a Wild Charge, and in the back they have Dedenne. Dedenne farming up. It's going to be met with a Rock Blast from the ALOLAN Golem. ALOLAN Golem able to grab the final shield from Dedenne. That is quite nice. Dedenne is forced to go for the Play Rough here. Play Rough will hit for neutral. Play Rough not enough to KO. ALOLAN Golem able to make it to the Rock Blast. Is this going to be enough to KO Dedenne? Yes, it is. Back in comes the Electrode. It's a race. Aggressive switch into the Lantern. We get the Water Gun Snipe and the victory. Moving into the next match, leading Lantern into Dedenne, and this Dedenne is actually running Tackle, an alternate moveset that does have some nice play in this meta. Lantern is going to strike first, going for the Surf. Surf is able to grab a shield from Dedenne, and now I can send in ALOLAN Graveler, and my opponent responds with a Hisuian Electrode. I'm going for the Rock Blast right away. I'm hoping my opponent no shields, which they do, and now I can pretty safely commit to the farm down. I commit the shield. They're going to full send the Energy Ball. Opponent is going to try and make it to Energy Ball number 2, but they fall short. ALOLAN Graveler gets the farm down. Rock Throw is just disgustingly oppressive in this meta. In the back, the opponent has a Water Gun Lantern. I'm going to farm up quite a bit of energy here, go for the Rock Blast, and grab a shield from my opponent. My opponent does not want to take any additional damage. They're going to go for the Surf. Surf is going to get rid of my ALOLAN Graveler. Now I send in Lantern. Lantern farming up some energy here. Opponent sends in Dedenne, and Dedenne is going to be firing off a charge move. They go for the Play Rough. I'm going to send in my ALOLAN Golem and commit to the farm down. I have the move banked, on my Lantern, so I should be in a good spot here. All I have to do is just go for the Rock Blast to ensure that it's going to be in Thunderbolt range, and the game is going to be over. My opponent farming up a ton of energy here. They're going to fire off a Surf into a ALOLAN Golem. I have a move loaded on my Lantern, so I can confidently let the Golem go. Lantern will be able to KO the opposing Lantern, and that is a good game. Moving into the next match, leading Lantern into Magneton. Considering I have 2 rock types in the back, I'm very happy to catch the steal on the lead, because as you can see, these water guns are absolutely melting through Magneton. I go for the Surf. Surf is going to get the shield. They have a ton of energy. I'm going to let the first move through here. I should be able to tank the discharge, but they're running Zap Cannon, and I get one shot. I send in Graveler. Opponent responds with Galvantula, and whether Galvantula is running Volt Switch or Fury Cutter, it gets absolutely melted in this matchup by rock throws. Alolan Graveler able to get the farm down. Opponent is going to send back in the Magneton. I'm going for the Rock Blast, but unfortunately, since I'm debuffed, Rock Blast is not quite going to be enough to KO. I send in the Golem, and unfortunately, they are able to reach a last-second Magnet Bomb. I will commit the shield. We'll have to see what they have in the back. They have regular Electrode in the back, and this game should be over. I can confidently tank a Foul Play here, so I'm going to let that through, because Foul Play definitely not going to threaten, whereas these rock throws are absolutely crushing the poor Electrode. I'm going for a Rock Blast here. Rock Blast is going to get the shield. I'm going to continue to farm. They're able to reach another charge move, but again, I just don't have to worry about it. Foul Play is going to KO. I can send in my Graveler, get the farm down, and win the game. We see the Galvantula on the lead in the next match. I have 2 better responses in the back, so I will immediately save switch into my Alolan Graveler, and I'm going to be met with a very cool spice pick, XL Alolan Geodude. I'm able to grab a shield with the Rock Blast, Geodude continuing to farm. At this point, honestly, I'm fine with letting this through, because if another rock type is their best answer to a rock type, hopefully my Alolan Golem should have a lot of play in the back. I'm going to wait my timer, send in Lantern, look for the water gun, farm down, and get it. That is massive, because honestly, a Surf is going to threaten that Galvantula a lot. In comes the Galv. I'm going straight for the Surf. This will do a ton of damage, as Galv is very frail. Surf able to land. In comes Golem in the back. They have another rock type, so we have the battle of the rock throwers. I'm going to fire off this early Rock Blast. Rock Blast is going to grab a shield from my opponent, and at this point, I can just save my shields for Lantern and win this game. I'm going to let this through. I'm going to send in the Lantern, water gun down, and then I should be able to fire a Surf onto the Galv for the win. They'll reach a charge move. I technically don't have to shield this, but just in case, I will commit the shield. I am going to be able to get the farm down, leave with the Surf. Surf will be taking care of the Galvantula, and what do you know? Double rock throw, another win in the Electric Cup. Leading into another Dedenne in the next match. As before, I'm going to save switch into a Alolan Graveler, and let's see what they have in the back. They're staying in here, and they're going to fire off a charge move. I don't really want to let them land the play rough, so I will commit the shield, and then my opponent is going to send in their own Alolan Graveler here. Question is, are they running double rock as well? I'm able to grab an early shield from my opponent. That's quite nice. I continue to farm. My opponent will fire off the Rock Blast before I'm able to reach my second charge move. Rock Blast not going to KO. I make a last second charge move, but unfortunately this is not going to KO either. My opponent barely able to hang on with a sliver of HP. I send in Lantern, get the water gun farm down, back in comes Dedenne. Dedenne can only hit for neutral here, so honestly Lantern doesn't have to shield. Lantern is an absolute tank, absorbing the discharge and going to be able to apply a lot of pressure in this matchup with the Surf. Surf will easily KO if my opponent lets it through. Surf is going to get the KO in the back. They have Hisuian Electrode, and this is actually a bit scary for me as I'm in the one shield. And in the one shield, unfortunately, Alolan Golem doesn't do as well as in the twos. Fortunately, I'm able to farm up and win CMP with the Rock Blast over their Energy Ball. At this point, now that I've gotten their shield, I can just let this go, send in the Lantern. Lantern will make it to a Surf. Surf may be resistant, but the rock throws did enough damage that Lantern KOs the Electrode, and that is a good game. We've got a mirror lead in the next match, Lantern into Lantern. Bad news for me, however, my opponent is running Spark, whereas I'm running Water Gun. So this is a pretty tough spot for me to be in. They go for the Thunderbolt, that's going to land and do quite a bit of damage, and I'm going to return fire with a Thunderbolt of my own. I need to get some damage off onto my opponent, and I'm able to successfully do so. I try and go for the Thunderbolt catch, but my opponent shows great patience, holding on to their energy, and now they can just go for the double surf, and unfortunately, my ALOLAN Golem is done for. Honestly, I'm not willing to shield this. I'm just going to let it go and put my entire faith into my Graveler. Graveler is going to be met with a Graveler from my opponent. They lag for a little bit there. They're able to catch back up, and now we're going for the Rock Blast. Rock Blast not going to KO, but will do some solid chip damage onto my opponent. My opponent is able to reach the last second Rock Blast, and I will commit the shield. I'm able to get rid of their Graveler. It all depends what they have in the back. They have Hisuian Electrode. I'm going to farm up a ton of energy here and try and go for a catch onto Lantern, and it looks like I was able to do so. That is massive. Electrode went for the Wild Charge. That barely does not KO, and I'm able to make it to a Surf. This will be grabbing a shield from my opponent. Electrode has a lot of energy, but they're debuffed, and now they're going to fire off a charge move. They go for another Wild Charge. I commit the shield. It ends up being a CMP tie, so I'm going to fire off the Rock Blast here. Rock Blast gets the shield. They switch into the Lantern looking for the catch. I hold on to the energy. We get to fire off the Rock Blast, KOing the Electrode and grabbing the win. We've got a tricky lead in the next match. Water Gun Lantern into Wash Rotom. Bad news for me, my Water Guns are resisted in this matchup, but bad news for my opponent is Rotom is so frail that the resisted Water Guns are absolutely shredding through its HP bar. They go for the Thunderbolt, that does quite a bit of damage. I build up to the Thunderbolt, but I'm going to bait with a Surf, hoping to try and grab a shield. I do get the shield, now I'm going to send in Graveler. I believe this is enough for the Hydro, so I will respect it with a shield. Opponent does full send the Hydro, and then they're going to send in a Raichu. Perfectly fine by me. I'm going to be firing off the Rock Blast here into the Raichu. Rock Blast, able to get them deep into the red. This can only be a Brick Break here, so I'm going to let this through. Brick Break hits for super effective damage, but it's not the strongest move ever, and Graveler gets the farm down. In the back, opponent has a Water Gun Lantern. I am just not able to make it to the Stone Edge, as the Water Guns were just too oppressive. I make it to the Rock Blast. Rock Blast gets a shield, and now I'm very happy that I have energy on my Lantern, because I'm going to need it. I'm going for the Thunderbolt here. Thunderbolt will do some nice chip damage onto my opponent's Lantern, getting it into the yellow. I'm going to stay in here, wait for them to throw their energy, which they do, and then I just have to trust in my ALOLAN Golem to win me this game. In comes Golem. Golem trying to farm down with the Rock Throws. They make it to a Surf. I will expend my final shield here. Question is, how much energy does this Lantern have? They cannot make another move. They get farmed down. In comes the Rotom. Rotom is going to be KO'd with the Rock Blast as we're able to get the win. Hopping into the final match, leading Lantern into ALOLAN Raichu. I'm going to save switch into ALOLAN Graveler. Raichu farms up, and this is enough for a potential Grass Knot. I will respect it with a shield. Opponent baits with a Wild Charge, and now they're going to send in their own Graveler. Their Graveler is running Volt Switch, which is definitely better for me, as Volt Switch is going to be resisted compared to the neutral damage from Rock Throw. I'm able to make it to Rock Blast number 2, applying a lot of pressure onto my opponent here. Rock Blast is going to get them low. They will reach a last second charge move. I'm going to let this through, as I do want to save shields for the glassy ALOLAN Golem in the back. Lantern goes for the farm down, but I just can't get there. Opponent able to hang on with 1 HP and make a last second Rock Blast. That is definitely not ideal. We'll have to see. Do they send back in the Raichu? They do not. They have Hisuian Electrode, so they have grass moves everywhere on this team. In comes the Raichu. I'm going to fire off the Rock Blast here, trying to KO the Raichu. Raichu commits the shield. They do have enough for the Grass Knot here, and I do have to respect this with a shield. Grass Knot would KO. I'm able to get the farm down. In comes Hisuian Electrode. They banked the energy ball from earlier, and unfortunately, it looks like I am actually going to lose a game with this team, as Lantern cannot do enough damage in this moment. They make the energy ball. Energy ball KOs the Lantern, and that is a good game. And now some final thoughts on the Electric Cup. First off, I think it's absolutely essential, if you're not running ALOLAN Graveler and ALOLAN Golem, to have multiple counters to them on your team. Water Gun Lantern is a very solid counter, or you could also run just a bunch of mons that have grass moves. Hisuian Electrode, Raichu has Grass Knot, Minun has Grass Knot as well, so making sure you have the ability to hit those annoying rock types for super effective will be absolutely essential to surviving Electric Cup, or, you know, you could always just play Open Great League. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.